August 7, 2014 marked the beginning of a new day for the Division I membership. After 18 months of work, the Board of Directors adopted a new structure for how institutions and conferences will govern the division and how they will better meet the needs of student-athletes. At its August 2013 meeting, the Division I Board of Directors approved a plan for redesigning the governance structure. The board chair appointed a steering committee of the board to guide this effort. The steering committee approached its work with some parameters in mind. First, the structure and process must be simple with clear definitions of roles and responsibilities and open lines of communication. Second, flexibility in terms of governance and legislative autonomy should be considered. Third, any new model must recognize the diversity of the membership and the need to ensure expertise and a commitment to serve. And last, ensuring that practitioner knowledge, institutional knowledge, and varying perspectives are embedded within the structure. To achieve these goals, the Board of Directors committed to lead a process for governance redesign that was guided by shared values and vision, communicated effectively, built community, consensus, and trust, and recognized the unique pressures and challenges faced by several conferences in operating intercollegiate athletics programs that balance educational and athletic interest. Throughout late 2013 and early 2014, the steering committee incorporated numerous opportunities for participation, including a Division I governance dialogue at the January 2014 NCAA convention. An extensive membership input process garnered continuous formal and informal feedback from across the Division I membership. The steering committee addressed key questions about what structure would best serve the broad interests of the membership, what would appropriate structure and function of the Division I board be, and what bodies are necessary to support the board's work. After a review of an initial proposed model by the steering committee, the final Division I governance model was adopted by the Board of Directors on August 7, 2014. The new governance structure will allow for a more streamlined process for both legislative and policy issues and will draw student-athletes and daily practitioners to be more engaged. The new Division I Board of Directors will have 24 members, including 20 university presidents, an athletics director, faculty athletics representative, female administrator, and a student-athlete. The Board of Directors will serve as the overall governing body for Division I, with responsibility for strategy, policy, governance, and membership. The board will retain some legislative and management oversight. Additionally, the board will be able to sponsor legislation and endorse or adopt academic standards. Further, the board may act to monitor, interpret, and address the scope of legislation proposed by the group of 5 conferences given the flexibility to adopt rules separately. The new Division I Council will have 40 total members, including a representative from all 32 conferences, 2 student-athletes, 4 commissioners, and 2 faculty athletics representatives. The board will appoint council members. A minimum of 60% of the 32 conference representatives on the council must be athletics directors, and an athletics director must serve as chair. The council will have primary responsibility for day-to-day non-academic policy and legislative decisions, and will be authorized to appoint sub-council standing committees and ad hoc groups to accomplish its desired objectives. These committees could make recommendations to the council related to championships, legislation, student-athlete well-being, membership, and other issues. The new Committee on Academics will manage all policy and regulations related to academics. The committee will have 20 members, with a diverse representation of individuals from all levels of athletics and school administration, including at least 2 presidents or chancellors, one of whom will serve as chair. The committee will report directly to the Board of Directors, but will send legislative proposals to the Council. Association-wide committees, such as the Committee on Women's Athletics and other Division I committees, will report to the Council in the new structure. Additionally, sport-related committees will report to the Council. The new governance structure provides flexibility for the 65 schools within the ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, Pac-12, and SEC to make legislative decisions independently in specific areas. More information regarding the legislative process for these conferences, as well as the shared governance process, will be provided in the new legislative process section. In January, the terms of current members of the Board of Directors, Board of Governors, Councils, and Committee on Academics expired, and the new Board of Directors and Council began their terms. Prior to April 2015, the Council will complete the substructure, including the appropriate governance bodies responsible for interpretations and waivers of the rules. During September 2015, the first proposals under the new governance structure will be submitted. The new governance structure will move toward full implementation by mid-2015. A major change to the current governance model includes giving authority to the 65 schools in the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, Pac-12, and the SEC to adopt rule changes on specific student-athlete-oriented issues. This new process will ensure that rule changes in these areas have broad support among the 65 member schools. Because of the change in the governance structure, the 65 schools will be able to make rules to enhance the well-being of student-athletes and to advance their educational or athletics-related needs. The rest of Division I will be able to apply the same rules at the discretion of each conference. The 65 schools may make rules in these areas: health and wellness, meals and nutrition, financial aid, expenses and benefits related to pre- and post-enrollment support, insurance and career transition, career pursuits, time demands, academic support, recruiting, and personnel. In order to add to the list, some unforeseen circumstances must arise. Any additions must conform to the values of higher education and intercollegiate athletics. To move items to this category, 3 of the 5 conferences must recommend the change, and then 60%, or 12 of the 20 presidents serving on the board, must approve. From this list, a specific proposal for a new rule may be introduced into the legislative process by support of one of the 5 conferences. This proposal will be reviewed by a presidential group that consists of representation from all 5 conferences to ensure it is germane to the list of approved areas. When a proposal is sponsored, the entire Division I membership will have 60 days to comment. The 5 conferences will hold a forum to discuss proposed rule changes and then will take final votes during a business session. The president of each of the 65 member schools shall choose one person to vote for the school. Additionally, each of the 5 conferences will appoint 3 student-athlete representatives for a total of 80 votes. An item shall be approved with a simple majority vote by 3 of the 5 conferences and 60% of the 80 voting delegates, or a simple majority vote by 4 of the 5 conferences and a simple majority vote of the 80 voting delegates. Decisions will be final and not subject to override. The Council will govern the remaining legislative areas, including championships administration, membership, and academic standards. Both the Council governance process and the system within the 5 conferences will be guided by the shared principles of health and wellness of, and time demands on, student-athletes. The Council governance legislative process will have a 4-2-1 weighted voting system. The votes of each of the 5 autonomy conferences will count 4 times. The votes of the other 5 FBS conferences will count twice. The remaining 22 conferences, 2 faculty athletics representatives, and 2 student-athletes votes count once. The 4 commissioner votes are weighted according to the subgroup they represent. If legislation has 85% approval, it may not be rescinded or reconsidered except through additional legislation after a required 2-year waiting period has expired. Any other adopted legislation by the Council can be subject to a rescission process. If 66.7% of active Division I member institutions request a rescission within a 60-day period of adoption, rescission of any legislation would restore the applicable bylaw to its original state. The 2015 NCAA National Convention marked several significant milestones in the progression of the new Division I governance structure. First, 5 conferences and their 65 member schools conducted their first legislative agenda, which culminated at the first 5 conference business session. The membership approved a constitutional amendment to guarantee championships access at its current levels to all conferences within Division I, and the terms of the new Board of Directors and Council members began. Moving forward, the Division I Council is expected to complete the design of the Council substructure and begin implementation prior to April 2015. Additionally, the Council will develop a formal Division I strategic plan and planning process and recommend to the new Division I Board of Directors the necessary substructure groups and appointment processes. For the remainder of 2015, the new board will evolve into a more strategic body, focusing on issues facing Division I and improving a leadership partnership between the board and NCAA staff. As the new Division I conference structure develops, it will provide both challenges and opportunities for the Division I membership. The new autonomy structure will require the 5 conferences and their 65 schools to determine how to navigate the governance and legislative processes with a focus on how to best serve their student-athletes. Additionally, the new structure will create challenges for the other Division I conferences as they chart their course within the division. The additions to the Board of Directors, which now includes an athletics director, female institutional administrator, faculty representative, and student-athlete, will provide an opportunity for more administrators and student-athletes to be engaged in charting the course for Division I.